Hello, everybody, and welcome to OutRaised Voices. I'm your host, Sharon Lee Williams, and I want to say I'm so glad you're here. This is our intro. This is day one, the beginning, the birth of OutRaised Voices. Now, I wanted to do this to let you know, do this show to let you know what OutRaised Voices is about and who does it serve. And we are in OutRaised Voices is in conversation with guests who have been through foster care or adoption, kinship, who've been raised outside their family of origin, their family of culture, or country for that matter. We'll also speak with people who have unique families, not necessarily outraised, but maybe single parents or children of single parents. We will have social workers, mind, body, and soul, because we need to take care of our mind, body, and our soul. We'll talk about financial literacy, because I think that's really important, even though your value, your self-value is the biggest worth, the biggest value of it all. But this show would be more directed towards youth who are transitioning out of care and who have their first paycheck, their first $100, whatever that looks like to you, and to how to start wealth building, and to think that way, to know that there are possibilities. Because I wish I'd had that when I was younger. It took me a little while to even think that way. So that is why we'll have sort of level one financial literacy. Now, the birthing of OutRaised Voices. I was in a coaching program and a transformational coaching and facilitation and leadership program for many years. I became a transformational leader. And last year, I went through I was in a fabulous mastermind. And a couple of years, the book started to come. I decided, well, maybe my story could possibly help somebody. At least that's what people seem to feel. And that book is called OutRaised, Finding My Voice Beyond Foster Care. Now it's still being edited. I procrastinated a bit with that, I have to say. That's what we're going to talk about on the show as well. Procrastination about your life and things that kind of hold you back, that you think are holding you back. Anyway, so that's how OutRaised Voices came about. And it was a transition from the book into the opportunity of hosting a television show came about. And here we have OutRaised Voices. So that's how it all began. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was raised in foster care from a baby until I transitioned out of care between the ages of 16 to 17, somewhere in there. So that's what the book talks about, my journey through it all, and how I ended up being in show business and being a singer and a vocal coach and performance coach and starting to find myself within that. But also it speaks to how even though I was having success in one area, I was still struggling with figuring out who I was, why I reacted to things in a certain way. I wanted to find out so much about myself because I saw some of these old habits, the bad behaviors and good behaviors. And that's what our guests as well will bring. That's what we're going to talk about, these types of journeys. I started to do a lot of work after the birth of my son when I was 38 years old. And I said I didn't want to bring the same sort of, bring the scars and the behavior to the table that I had had, or any, what if I could be a better mom and a better person? Well, in order to be a better mom, I had to be a more understanding person, understanding who I am. And so that's how my growth into self-help, self-awareness, self-education, that's where that all began. Even though I've had success in certain areas, and I know some of you out there feel like this, because there are a lot of people in show business who have gone through the system, who have gone through unusual lifestyles or parenting, and seems to be a lot of that in show business. And we bring our sad songs to the table. We bring our creativity to the table, as well as all the other things. Now, if you Google some of the people who have been in care, you would be surprised. I mean, even going back to my day, I believe Marilyn Monroe spent some time in care. There are just, and please do Google and see the names of people that you would know. So it's been a journey for me, but I've come out the other side. Now, it doesn't mean I don't have any scars to show for it, because I do. But my scars are a lot less. I went through learning about forgiveness and just, as I said before, understanding myself in a better way. But you understand yourself in a better way, maybe you do better things. I don't know. Here I am at the young age of 74, starting a new journey. And again, OutRaised Voices is about stories and journeys, transformations. And as you get to know me, I'll talk a little bit more about my journey and my transformation and my ongoing work on myself. So even on the set, you'll see luggage, and people ask me, why do you have luggage on the set? And that really, it came about because I thought about all the baggage we carry around with us, for years, all that built up, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, the regrets, the what ifs, the broken heart, all of that. We carry that around, and we carry that through other relationships in our journey. But I know you've heard all the stories. Your past does not define your future, and it doesn't, because every day I wake up, I know I have a choice. First of all, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm awake, and I have a choice. I have a choice to make a difference for myself, for my family, and for this community. I have a choice, as we all do. We all have a choice. But if we don't know that, especially I didn't know that when I transitioned out of care, I just didn't know a whole lot of things. And you don't know what you don't know. And I wish, looking back, that I had had a community to go to and say, this is what's happening to me. What do I do? Did you go through this? I didn't have that. And so much of the time we hear that being in care is a secret place to be. It's not something you necessarily go out and share, even with friends. People that know you for a long time or getting to know you. It's not something that you bring up at the restaurant, when you're out with friends. Hi, I've been in care. I'm a foster child. And there's so much, I know for myself, I didn't have the languaging about shame or not feeling enough or all of that. I didn't have that languaging. I just felt insecure, not good enough. Opportunities would come and I would say I would take them, and then I would get close, and then I would run away because I would figure that they would find me out. They would find out that I'm really not as good as they think I am. And talking about scars, I'll tell you, and what triggers us sometimes. Just recently, this past spring, I was looking out my studio window, and I noticed over my security lights, there was a nest, a bird's nest. I hadn't seen it before. And I was just, wow, this is a bird's nest and shaped and everything. And then finally I saw this robin sitting, Mama Robin, sitting on this nest, I guess doing what robins do with their eggs. And I don't know a lot about birds or anything like that, so I'm just telling you that. But yeah, I watched this, and every morning that I went in, I watched her sit there perched, and she would look at me and I would look at her, and that was that. And then I'd go on with my day. She went on with her day until I remember one morning when I finally came, and she wasn't on the nest anymore. She wasn't on the eggs. She was on a wire, I don't know, she was just making these bird sounds, and I don't know, really loud. It was really, really loud. And then I looked over at the nest, and I saw the 3 little beaks opening. 3 little open beaks, go, waiting to be fed. I said, wow. And that became, I just watched this mother and babies. And she would go, again, she would look at me, and I would look at her, and I said, okay, I would move, because I thought she didn't want to go and bring the babies their breakfast until I was out of the picture, because maybe she thought I was threatening. I don't know. It's a story I've created in my head, but I don't know. So that went on for a while, until finally I started looking at the nest a little bit more, or more often, and then it was finally down. I saw three little baby birds, and then finally there was one little birdie making a whole lot of noise too. But Mama's now still on the wires, on the phone wires or whatever it was. And and I used to watch her, just to go back a little bit. I used to watch her on the nest when the babies were coming, and she'd be going flap, 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 and making all these noise. And I said, is she teaching them to fly and telling them, you got to fly? Because I'm not going to be taking care of you you got to fly. You got to make your way out there. So she would be every morning, flap, 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 flap. And they would be like, mommy, 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 feed me, right? But this communication was so interesting, to me anyhow. But until it came to the last bird. Now, I didn't see this bird fly off, but I remember the morning I came, there were no more baby birds in the nest, and no more mom on the wire chirping or flapping or anything. And I thought to myself, are they going to come back and visit the apartment? I wondered, is she going to come back? Do they do that? And I don't know anything about birds, but just the idea of letting go, how I guess each species does it. This bird said, okay, you're done, you're flying. Do they meet up somewhere? I don't think they meet up at the, coffee shop. What do they do afterwards? Where do these little birds go? Do they meet up in someplace? I don't know. But it was just interesting that we, as human beings, have such a difficult time letting go. But when I finally had someone remove the nest, they found like one broken egg left. So one of the babies didn't make it. Just didn't make it. And when I think of all of them in that small little nest, their small little home, the little three faces, the little beaks, peeking out. Nature is just so incredible. Now, why we can't let go as easily as human beings? Because we're more complex, of course. We have emotions, we have mind, we have a whole lot of stuff to work with. On the show, we'll talk about that. Emotions and neuroscience and the healing power of art and music. We'll talk to grief counselors. This is a community that brings conversation and education and outreach. And in actual fact, that's what I call my guests. My guests are called CEOs because they bring conversation, education, and outreach / optimism. One of the intention of OutRaised Voices, the intention is to hear the journeys and the stories of these CEOs, the guests. And for our viewers, or some viewers, maybe you're just curious about all of this, but maybe you are a youth who's transitioning, an adult who's been through it and still has deep wounds and deep scars. Maybe there's a shift of 1% that you hear, something that you hear from a guest that makes you go, oh, I am not alone. You hear something that says, oh, they did it that way. Maybe I can try that. Everybody wants to be seen and heard and loved. And it makes for a better world. That's what I think. If we get to understand ourselves a little more, and we're in community is important. So if we understand ourselves and we're able to see ourselves in others and to be ourselves and to not have shame about who we are, because the saying and the truth is, you don't have to fix you. The show is not about fixing you, because really, as the course I took, women-centered training with Dr. Clara Zamet, one of the things she says, you can't become yourself by yourself. Or, as you hear, there are other sayings, it takes a village to raise a village. Now, can you imagine if we all felt good about ourselves and could see the possibilities, especially when we're younger and coming out of situations. We are all challenged. We all have scars. I can't imagine any human being who doesn't have a scar of some sort. If so, please write in and let me know, because that's kind of like a perfect life if you've never had a scar. I'm not talking about physical scars. I'm talking about emotional scars. So I'm not saying OutRaised Voices is here to heal you, but it's just presenting ideas that might help. It is about the journey. It's always about the journey. As I said, and I keep saying, the story is the journey. And as you see in my opening, your story matters. The journey matters. Your voice matters. Down the road, or as we evolve or get stronger, we start to look at these scars as badges of resilience. We are strong. I know and there's no set time that you have to be wherever. It can be baby steps or giant steps, and we all do that from time to time. But we have to know that we are the directors of our lives. We are the directors. There are circumstances we cannot change. Our past we cannot change. What happens along the way we cannot change. But we're still the directors of how we think and how we see ourselves. And how worthy we feel. So the choice is we can direct our own movies, create and direct our own movies, challenge ourselves. It doesn't mean you're not going to fall, because everybody falls. That is not a failure. Sometimes stuff doesn't work out. So what did I learn from that? What did I learn from that particular challenge? I'm still going through it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still understanding when I go through things, well, what is the takeaway from this particular challenge? What am I supposed to learn here? So I'm still learning. And I can tell you, age doesn't stop that. No matter how much I learn and how much of a coach or transformations, or you still have to do the work yourself. So I hope that you join us each week and hear the stories and journeys of our wonderful, generous guests and CEOs who will share their stories and their journeys. But if you have any topics or ideas that you might want us to talk about, or please reach out. Send us a note at info@outraisedvoices.com. Send us something, some feedback on how we're doing, how you're feeling. Because I will say it again, your story matters, your journey matters, Your voice matters. I'm so grateful that you showed up today. I want to say day one. And to be part of this, I think, celebration. I know it's celebration for me, but celebration for our community and our voices. I want to thank all the team that's been working with me to get to this point. Marcia and Taiwa, I want to thank you for helping me get here. It has been a journey. So for those of you out there, the viewers, come back each week. Bring a friend. I thank you for showing up today. And I'm wishing you a fabulous day wherever you are. It could be nighttime, daytime. I don't know. But as you know, we'll be streaming on E360 TV as well as I Have Today Network. You can catch us on a lot of the streaming channels. You will see, all of that will be presented to you at the end of the show. So, thank you, and blessings to all. Until next time, this is OutRaised Voices, and I'm Sharon Lee Williams, your host. So if you enjoyed this episode, I would really love to hear from you. Email me at info@outraisedvoices.com or Sharon Lee Williams @outraisedvoices.com. Who knows? On a future episode, you could be the CEO. Remember, your voice matters.